All right. Thank you so much. I'm always filled with gratitude because I'm grateful for the people who support me in this journey while I'm building. I It means a lot to me. So thank you so much for your time. I know you're coming over here. We're gonna get into football later, but I appreciate you for being here this morning for me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I'm sitting here with Troy D. Williams. Don't forget the D. Um, and you are an actor, a producer, a host, and you also have your own production company.
Yes.
So that's big. I can't wait to get to talk about that later because you got to build your own, create your own table, and you're also giving other people opportunities. So that's major for me. Um, so first, I wanna talk a little. Okay, I wanna um I wanna ask you. I wanna start with a light and easy question.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
right? What are you watching on TV right now? What are you into? Like, if you had time to sit down, when you have time to sit down, what do you sit down and watch?
So there's kind of like two parts to this, right? So there's the shows that I really enjoy watching just for the content.
Yeah,
So I know it's not on right now, but Snowfall is done. But that was my show. Oh my
yeah,
God, just amazing acting, amazing storytelling, just an amazing cast.
yeah.
So Snowfall, All American. I love All
Okay,
American.
yeah,
And then some of the ones that I watch as far as from a standpoint of shows I'm auditioning for. So my wife kind of got me on that show, The Rookie. You have what's the other one?
oh
Will Trent,
yeah,
like
yeah.
detective show.
Mm-hmm.
And these are shows that are actively like casting.
Yeah,
So I watch those shows more so for studying, to see the style of acting, see what they're looking for in actors.
yeah.
So should I get an audition, I know what to kind of bring to the table where I can kind of fit right in there.
I just finished watching Will Trent, and I really liked it. I really liked it. The cast they have such a diverse cast, and that's I love that.
And they're all so like
Um,
just natural, down to earth. It's like no
uh-huh.
one's really over the
Yeah,
top, but they're all like so believable in the roles that they're playing. Like
yeah,
they cast really well,
yeah,
but it's like that subtle, it's just subtle acting. Like I love it though.
yeah. And it's something great about all of them, even though they're
Right.
subtle. There is something great about them all.
Yep.
So yeah, that's good. Doing your homework, doing the work.
Right.
I talk a lot about doing the work.
Right.
So I want to know when you decided, okay, I'm gonna seriously take on acting as a career. This is something that I'm gonna put myself into. What was that like for you? When did you decide this is what I'm doing?
So, just to kind of make a long story short, it was more so when I knew my football career was over. As you get older, I knew I wasn't making it to that level that I wanted to make it to.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those things where I kind of had to like get serious. I had two kids now at that time, so I'm like, got a family to take care of. And if you're not playing
Yeah.
football at the highest level, you're not really making money to afford a lifestyle. So, I had to continue working.
Mm-hmm.
And when that ended, I said, I want to do something that I could really be great in, something that I can be like the best, to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
And something that
Mm.
still kind of gives me that same adrenaline rush that sports always did my entire life.
Yeah.
Because one of the toughest things for an athlete is when you have to just saying when it's over, just
Mm-hmm.
just coming to terms with that and just being real with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can still play at a decent level, but you're not going to that next level.
Yeah.
So we all get to that point where it's like, hey, so I said the next thing I do, I want to do something that doesn't really have an age cutoff on it. In acting, you just get better in time.
Absolutely.
You get different types of roles that you can play. When I first started, I was getting like 18 to 25,
Yeah.
age range. And I was 30,
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, well, I mean, look, I'm feeling good. My youth is there. Now I'm getting 30 to 40, but I
Yeah.
can even go up to 45 because, I have kids. So
Yeah.
it's like all these different roles I can play as a parent. You just keep getting better with age.
Absolutely. You ain't never lied about that. So, where did you grow up? Where you from?
So I'm from Bradenton, Florida.
Okay.
Shout out to the 941. Yeah, people see me put 941 all the time.
Mhm.
Humble beginnings, blue collar city. It's you know what Bradenton is
I
at?
do. Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, I just grew up there. Just good parents. Just raised us, me and my brother, to just do the right thing, always have our hearts in the right place, stay out of trouble,
Yeah.
and like I said, just humble beginnings. Bradenton, I feels like I feel like it prepared me for the world.
Oh, that's good.
It's a very humbling place. You have to be humble in
That's good.
Bradenton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does being from Bradenton and growing up like that influence who you are as an actor? Because I'm sure you probably meet people that say, I want to work with you again, and that I think a lot of that comes from who you are and how you show up. Not just the talent is extremely important,
Right.
but who are you on set? How do you show up? How do you think that those things, your upbringing influenced who you are now, even in football and as an actor? How did that influence you?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, that's a loaded question. So just to kind of break that down, I would say in Bradenton, you basically you develop your identity, right?
Hmm.
You develop an identity like you. Braden is one of those places where you can't floss and act like you're something that you're not. That can get you in trouble there.
Yeah,
So you have to get comfortable in your own skin and just being who you are, and people respect you more. So that relates how that relates to acting is in acting, it's all about truth, being present and finding truth in every scene and every character.
yeah,
So just kind of growing up in Bradenton and first being able to be myself comfortably, I feel like you have to be able to do that to be a good actor. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? So you have to be comfortable being yourself first, and then now you can play someone else.
yeah,
And now you can find the truths and those intricacies in those characters that you're playing.
yeah.
So that's kind of how it ties together. It's like just like I said, just humble beginnings and just being, who you are and
Hmm.
being comfortable in that.
Yeah, that's good.
And you develop
That's good.
confidence through that. Confidence
Hmm.
comes to that. So kind of as that relates to sports, you become confident because you know what you can do. You believe in yourself and you're being real with yourself. This is who I am. I'm living in the moment. This is what I can do. And when you develop that, you become fearless.
Absolutely.
Become fearless.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you give that off and you transfer that on to the people the kids that you coach and everything, which we're gonna talk about that. I can't wait. I can't wait to get into these young athletes.
Right, right, right.
Um, I had to realize that I have to show up authentically or I'm gonna miss my blessing.
Hmm.
I can't be out here. I can't fake it. I don't wanna fake because somebody needs me to show up as who I am. So I just gotta stick to that. And it's a learning curve, it,
Hmm.
it really is for me. But I'm definitely trying to do it wholeheartedly because I want everything God got for me.
Amen to that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, what's funny is, man, I grew up as a very shy kid.
Yeah.
I was very shy. Like my greatest fear in life was public speaking.
Yeah.
So me being an actor, like that just sounds crazy. If
Mhm.
someone would have told me I was going to be an actor at an early age, I would have like, nah, you're crazy because I'm
Mhm.
not getting in front of a camera. I don't even want to get in front of these people.
Yeah.
I'd be that kid sitting in the back of a classroom. I never wanted to sit in the front, and I would know every answer that the teacher would ask. Hey, what's the answer to this? I wouldn't raise my hand because I didn't want
Exactly.
any attention brought on me. I
Mhm.
just wanted to do my job, get out of there, and then just go and be a kid and have fun.
Look at God. And it
Yeah,
just turned the whole thing around for
yeah.
you. And now you're doing this work that takes you being in the front. Wow. Yeah.
It
That's
was an
cool.
adjustment. It was an
Yeah,
adjustment. But again,
absolutely.
when you find those blessings, and like I said, it's something that God has for you, I'm able to reach and connect with people through the storytelling.
Hmm.
Telling these stories. So to me, it's bigger than just me. I had to get over myself and get out of my own way, and let God use me how He wanted to use me.
Yeah. That's good. So speaking of God, I know I got a feeling we're gonna be talking about God. But your movie, the movie that you led, you starred in the book False Prophet.
Yeah.
Now I had an opportunity to watch that movie,
Uh
and
oh.
Pastor Jack,
Uh
I
oh.
wasn't ready. I
Oh.
didn't know.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
I'm not. No, I'm not because I know it was a character that you had to bring out, somebody that you had to really get in the skin of this of someone like Pastor Jack and really live that, and you did it so well.
Thank you.
I hope that people have seen it before I start talking about it. But the part of the movie where things turned around for you and you had that major breakdown scene, I was like, he is about to win an Oscar because the vulnerability that you got up there and you showed, it was like, man. And I know that people were looking at you. So you got to remember, it's not just you sitting in front of that camera by yourself. There's probably a whole room full of people, and you showed up so vulnerable and you did it for the man, for the pastor, for the person who needed to see that. And I commend you. Congratulations on
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Okay. The book False Prophet is streaming majorly. I personally watched it on Amazon Prime,
Okay.
and I really enjoyed it. So,
I really
tell
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. That's what people should do. That's what we should all be about, supporting our fellow actors, and that's where it's at. So how did you develop? What was your process like when after reading the script and you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to be this guy. What was your process like in developing your character, Pastor Jack?
So here's a true moment of vulnerability, right? And I'm sharing this with you. I'm kind of at a stage in my career where I'm very selective on the roles I take.
Okay.
I've done a lot of roles now, so I'm like, if a script doesn't move me, I probably won't do it.
Yeah.
There's nothing personal with the filmmaker or the writer or anything like that. It's just something that has to, because that's the only way I'm going to do the work and really dive in.
Mm-hmm.
So when I read the book False Prophet, like I said, the moment of vulnerability, the script scared me. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is a role that I could fail at.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very tough, challenging role. I've never played anything like this. I didn't really grow up in the church like that. I don't really go to church consistently like that. I'm a very spiritual person,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never been a churchgoer like that. And then I've heard these stories about pastors, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
how are these pastors going to look at me if I do this movie? Is it going to get me a negative, like
Mm-hmm.
impact or whatnot? So the role kind of scared me in the sense of like I knew that I was gonna have to go into some vulnerable times in my life, places that I never wanted to go back to,
Mm-hmm.
that I could really connect with the pastor. So I'm like, oh man, I'm like, I didn't want to do it, but Miss Betty, Betty Humphrey Breeden,
Yeah.
she's the person who created this whole thing. She wrote it. She did this as a stage play for like 20 years before deciding to turn it into a film.
Nice.
So her story attracted me to the role because I'm like, if somebody did this for 20 years as a stage play and now they want to turn it into a film and they want me to play that role,
Mm-hmm.
they must see a lot in me. You see what I'm saying? So it was again, it's bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, the story was there. And I just remember reading it and I'm just like, man, I got to do it. But then this was right around the end of 2019. We did table read, everything. Then what happens right after that? Pandemic, right? So then
Mm-hmm.
everything just gets kind of shelved.
Yep.
Since we don't even know when we're gonna be able to film again.
Yeah.
Like nobody was filming, everybody was scared. It was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I don't know if I'm gonna live to tell about this. And
Mhm.
then you couldn't go on sets without everybody doing tests. So then we sat on it. It sat for like a year or so, and then usually, in the independent film world, if a film sits that long, usually people are going about their lives,
Mhm.
and you never get a chance to
Yeah.
get that.
Can't put the cast back
It just
together.
doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it came back around and we were able to we had to replace a few people, but for the most part the solid core group was still there.
Yeah.
And then we were just like, hey, let's do this, and then that's how it came about.
Okay.
So the process, right? Let me get to that. You said the
Yes,
process.
yes. I was gonna circle back to that.
Okay, I got you. So the process, without me being a person that doesn't go to church a lot, right? I had to start studying a lot of pastors. I studied a lot of different styles. So I went to YouTube, started watching different pastors that had charisma,
Yeah.
kind of how Pastor Jack was.
Mhm.
And then I kind of, through seeing all those, I kind of put together a style on which how I seen him, dress. And then obviously his dress style and everything, that gives you the swag and the confidence right there,
Yeah.
just the way you dress. So that right there took care of that. Just the way I dress, it kind of, you give them a certain walk, a
Mhm.
certain strut.
Yeah.
So the only thing I wasn't sure about was the actual preaching part, doing the sermons, because obviously you can do a table read, which we did a lot of those through Zoom, but you don't know what it's going to be like until you actually get on that set.
Yeah.
So we had like the extras and everything in the church. Now I remember when I did that first sermon, and then they started saying, "Hey man," I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay." Okay, so I
Yeah.
became more of a pastor through actually when we started filming that one because of the scenario and how it was set up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the
In a real
confidence
church
came.
setting.
It was real. They
Yeah.
and I'm telling you what, my confidence started to boost because the people who were the extras, they thought I was a real pastor. They thought it was really my church, and they thought they just used a
Wow.
real pastor for those scenes. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
but
Love the extras, boy. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
that was the process. A lot of
You did a
research went
great.
into that. A lot of
Yeah.
research.
Yeah, so to recap what you're saying, you watch videos and you watch people, their life, how they dress, how they preach,
Hmm.
and that's how you came to bring Pastor Jack to life.
Yep.
Okay.
And then
All
I
right.
would say the biggest thing for me was finding out why Pastor Jack was the way he was without judging him. Because that's the key. You
Uh,
can never judge a character. So I had to find What was that motivation behind? Why
Oh,
is he doing these things? Why is that? And once I found that out, which, I can't tell what that was, that motivation, because some of those things you kind of hold key, you kind of hold to yourself.
yeah.
But once I had that motivation, I'm like, I got it. I can do
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
Because then I could honestly do these things, know that I'm impacting these people, changing lives, saving
Yeah.
souls. And whatever I do on the side, it's all minimal
Mhm.
compared to the bigger picture of what I'm doing.
That's good.
So that's how Pastor Jack was able to sleep at night and not lose any sleep over what he was doing.
Yeah. Well, Pastor Jack was juggling a lot of women in this. Now, I want to say, have you heard of the phrase "black men don't cheat"?
Yes.
Okay. So so I heard that people like to say black men don't cheat because it's supposed to invoke a conversation. They want you to say that so that people can get into these spaces and say, well, what does that mean? Why are people saying that and all of that? So to you, um,
Uh-oh.
what so okay, I'll tell you what I think. Okay. I think that when it comes to infidelity in marriages, only marriages we're talking about. Are you married?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Going on
So
15
you're
years.
15
Going on
years.
15 years. Yeah.
Very nice. I think that what is gonna stop this sort of this side chick nation that we're living in is when people get together, when number one, black women get together and say, you know what, if I know this man is married, he's off limits. And then there will be more unity around helping black men stay connected to their wives, their family, their focus, opposed to just being a woman that's like, you know what, I don't care what he got going on. I'm okay with it. If he long as he want me, we good. I need somebody, and then they just do whatever.
Hmm.
Maybe because of his power, his money, whatever the situation. But I think that when women get together and decide we all stopping, then it'll all stop. But until then, here we are. So for you, what do you think? What does black men don't cheat mean to you? Or what do you have to say about that? And if you don't like the question, we can scratch it.
No, no, man. I like all the smoke.
Okay.
I don't dodge any smoke
Okay.
on that. I would say that I think just generally speaking, I think black men have like this kind of this connotation that all black men are players,
Mhm.
and I think it's more so a message to like black women saying that not all of us are bad,
Mm.
not all of us are dogs. I think that's more so what it's designed to do. Um, However, I mean, I guess I don't really look at culture or race. I think it's just men doing men things, like.
Mhm.
So I'll say this, I'm very blessed to be married, 15 years. Shout out to my wife Candace. I know she'll be watching this. Love you, baby. I met her at UCF, and we just kind of hit it off. But I think in marriages, I think one the way that you are when you meet each other, right? The things that make you fall in love with each other, those things have to remain at the baseline of
Mhm.
your marriage, in the sense of physical appearance, just the sexual life, those things right there. Like if it at the peak of when you fall in love, that I feel like that has to remain the baseline.
Mhm. Okay.
But you go below there, then I think that's when it becomes a danger zone where there's voids that need to be filled. So I think both people need to kind of individually be growing on themselves and working on themselves,
Absolutely.
because I think a lot of people become very stagnant in marriage. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I got him, so I don't have to do this anymore, like, or I have her. And then you see these dudes, they end up getting like beer bellies and stuff like that. They just drink. Okay, well, I got my wife. I don't, no, man, you need to stay physically fit, man. Like, because guess what? She
Yeah.
gonna see one of the dudes look like Shamar Moore. He got a 10 pack. You know what I'm saying? That's like, again, that imagination,
Mhm.
and especially if you're not treating her right,
Yeah.
or if in the woman's case, if she's not taking care of herself, physically, and there's no effort there, and then it's like just kind of bad attitude, boring, just
Yeah.
those things. So I feel like that's where I think a lot of the issues happen is people become stagnant and they think that just because they're married they don't have to do these things anymore. But I'm like, nah, it's a work in
Still
progress
got to put
forever.
in that work.
It's a work in progress, and I think you
Absolutely.
need to. My goal has always remained the number one dude in my woman's life. I want her when she sees me, I want her eyes to still light up.
Mhm.
That's why I work out for her. I like to
Nice.
stay sexy for her. Because I like when she looks at me like that. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
feel special.
Yeah. Nice. Very
So I feel like you
nice.
kind of got to
Thank
control
you
the
for
narrative
sharing that.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
within your marriage, you gotta.
Mhm.
A lot of people become stagnant, and I think that's where a lot of issues could arise out of that.
Mhm. Well, very nice. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure Candace will be happy to hear you say that. Hopefully you say it to her. You let her know that too, you know?
Hopefully, I get some brownie points. We'll see.
Yes, yes, yes.
We'll see. We'll see.
So, do you and Candace have children?
Yes, we have three.
3 children.
Three.
Okay. All right. And far as I know, you have 2 boys and you're involved in their life as far as being their coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about the team that you coach and um, just tell me about your team. Just tell me about your team and how that how great it is, what I'm trying to say, for you to be able to coach your team, coach your sons and be that leader.
Yeah. So my oldest son, Troy Jr., he's now in high school, so I don't coach him anymore. But we still do drills and stuff like
Okay.
that. I'll always be their first coach. Just kind of getting them right. So we do.
Yeah.
With my oldest son, the relationship is a little bit different. It's more so I work on the mental side. We do a lot of film study,
Mm,
breaking it down, showing him like, hey, this is what you did really good. This is where you could tighten up. Here are the tendencies of the people you're going against. Understand that so when you go into the game, now you know what they're going to do before they even do it.
nice.
And now you can anticipate, you can make plays now. So it's more of like the mental side with him. But, I refuse to coach my kids in high school though. It's
Hmm.
time for them to go on and, be coached by somebody else.
Yeah.
My middle son, he's about to be 12 actually in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So he'll probably be 12 when this airs. But basically, I coach his team now. He plays for Lake Howell, Pop Warner team, and
Okay.
he's coming off of a season where he won like 4 rings. With the Avalon Wolves.
Wow.
So yeah, but we're going to a new team just to sometimes you just got to switch it up a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, um, he
Mhm.
was a part of a great team, but I started noticing he started becoming complacent because his team was so good.
Mhm.
So I need him to be in that position where he's staying like
Challenge.
alert and
Yeah.
being. So that is more about that.
Yeah.
So now we have a group of kids though with that group where a lot of them last year was their first year playing.
Mhm.
So I'm just now meeting some of these kids now. But like I said, I love the hunger. All
Mhm.
these kids are hungry. They love coming to practice and conditioning.
Yeah.
And at this age, man, it's pure. But for those that don't know, 12U is when it really becomes real.
Mhm. At
Should I
that
say that
age.
again?
Yep, yep, thank
Okay,
you.
hang on one second.
Yep.
Let me. So I coach 12U.
Okay.
That's my middle son. He'll be 12 actually in 2 weeks. Probably it'll probably be when this airs. He'll probably be 12. So happy birthday, Tyson.
Mhm.
Um,
Happy birthday, Tyson.
but yeah, these kids that we're coaching here, a lot of them. This is going to be like their second year playing.
Okay.
My son has been playing now for like 5 years, so he has a lot of experience. He started playing when he was 7.
Have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm like, some of these kids, man, they have great experience now. Like they understand the game, like at a high
Mhm.
level. But a lot of these kids, man, they're hungry. They just want to learn and get better. And for me, this is where it's pure. When
Yeah.
you're coaching kids at this age, no egos, none of that stuff. They literally just want to get better and learn the game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
12U, for a lot of people that don't know, 12U is when tackle football gets real. That's when kids are like
I
hitting
bet.
growth spurts and
Yeah.
kids are looking like grown men and like that 12U is the year where you decide whether you want to play this thing long term or not.
Yeah.
So it's a very pivotal year, and that's why I decided to get back into coaching
Okay.
just to make sure we're working on those fundamental things.
Yeah. So you have big ambitions for your sons, past, I'm sure past Little League football into something greater. What are your hopes for them? What do you hope they do with all of the work and all the seeds that you're sowing into them?
So with them, I just tell them, hey man, you have to decide what you want to do with your life. Like I'm one of
Mhm.
those dads where I don't pressure them to do it. They like I remember when they were younger, they used to come and get me, Dad, can we go and do some ladder drills, cone drills. They
That's good.
wanted to do the work. So I've seen some of those relationships where fathers like kind of push their kids too much and then their relationship ends up being damaged. And I learned early and I'm like, listen, I don't want to be that dad.
Yeah.
I want to be more of like, hey, if you want to be great, I can help you get there. But this is what it's going to take. But understand, you have to want it. The moment I see that you're not engaged, I'm not going to push it any further.
Yeah.
But I told him, hey, listen, if you end up losing your love for football somewhere along the way, but you're good enough to go to the next level, I say, hey, at least get your college paid for free, you know,
Yo,
and then get
yeah,
major in something that you want to do with your
that's
life.
big. Yeah,
Because I told them student loans, I did the student loan thing, and I'm like, I would never let y'all do the student loan
no
route.
fun,
You
no
know, it
fun.
kind of sets your life up in a negative. So, um, yeah, my thing is I just encourage them to whatever they do, 100%, you know, 100 miles per hour, do it full speed and do it with some goals and everything in place. And that's really what it is.
Nice, nice. So, I'm gonna air this on Father's Day, talking about your kids.
Oh, that's what's up.
I,
Uh,
I want to know, aside from what you give your kids, coaching them and being so present, because, man, if I could tell you, that's big. That's a lot. Just being there.
mhm.
Um, what do you hope that they take from you and they apply to their lives? Something that when they become fathers, they say, this is what I learned from my dad. My dad set these systems in place for us. What do you hope they instill in their own families?
So the biggest thing, and you know, this kind of going back to like one of your original questions about, you know, getting into the acting and doing that stuff and why I do it. I think it's very important for our kids to see us chasing dreams as well and having dreams come true.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I teach them: be a leader by example. Like my kids, they love this roller coaster journey I'm on with this acting thing. You know, they love going to see my films and stuff like that, red carpet premieres. Like they've grown accustomed to those things. You know, they don't tell me sometimes, but then their friends be like, their friends come, hey, your son said you're an actor. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, y'all telling your friends let's go all this stuff, you know. So then you realize, all right, they do actually think it's pretty cool, you know, whether they tell me or not. Like they're bragging to their friends though about that stuff. So I'm
That's
like, it's cool. So that's the biggest thing is you know, never stop. You know, your drive always has to go. You
mm-hmm.
know, first and foremost, you have to keep that drive and, you know, keep your goals and dreams in front of you. Make sure they're realistic but challenging at the same time. And just giving, you know, one thing I give them is unconditional love.
Mm.
You know, unconditional love and the good times and the bad times. They know
Yeah.
that me and their mom love them unconditionally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I would want them to do as they have kids, just love their kids unconditionally. Because I think once that love factor is there, then those kids become like they become bulletproof in the sense of like if I know I have my parents' love, then the rest of the world can't stop me.
Oh, that's big.
And that's and then I
Yeah.
also have a baby girl. She's 7.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's number 3. And you know, being a girl dad, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Girls are
Yeah.
emotional,
Yeah.
and my daughter is a diva of all divas. You know, diva of all divas. So I'm like, man, like
Yeah.
you develop this huge sense of patience. You just develop this patience, and then you learn to like just kind of laugh off some stuff. You know, I think it's important as well to also have those boundaries where your kids know that you're the parent, they're the kid.
Oh.
And their generation, I see a lot of parents trying to be friends with their kids,
Yeah.
you know, hanging out at the same places.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's crazy to me. You know, there has to be that boundary so that their level of respect is there.
Yeah.
You know, guide them, you know, in the way that you want them to go.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah.
I have a 7-year-old too.
Oh, wow.
So, but I have a son. So
Okay.
we have a little bit of a different relationship, but I also have a daughter, and she is the most challenging person in my life.
How old is your
But
daughter?
she's 11.
Oh, wow.
She's
Okay.
11. But
Going on 16.
yes,
Trust
yes,
me, I already know.
yes, she is. But my 7-year-old, he's kind of in this phase in his life where he just wants to say what he's thinking. And I'm okay with that a little bit because it can kind of get him in trouble. But I'm okay with him being open
Hmm.
and expressing himself and not dimming his light. So I
Right.
hope that he goes far. He also plays football.
Okay.
So I love him to best. I call him my baby son. That's my baby. So good for you and being super present. I would say super present because coaching is not easy and you're giving a lot of your time.
It's time
Um,
consuming, man.
yeah.
It's super time consuming.
Do the other kids know that you're an actor? Do
No, I
they?
don't. I don't tell. Honestly, I don't tell a lot of people that. Like until I really get to know them. Like if it comes up, it comes up.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know, I'm one of those actors where I'm kind of old school, so I'm really about the craft
Yeah.
as opposed to like being popular for it.
Mhm.
It's crazy that may sound, but like I don't tell people that because people start acting different around you.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
act different around you when they know that. So I'd rather them just treat me like how they're gonna treat me. You know, just hey, I'm just regular person like you.
Yeah.
You know, my profession and what I do doesn't make me any better than any of you. You
Mhm.
know, it's just I'm just driven to do this because it's what I'm called to do.
Yeah.
You know, but I fall in love with the work of acting, not the accolades and stuff that come with it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I just want to tell these stories, and I just want to, like I said, when it's all said and done, I want to be looked at as one of the best to ever do it.
Mhm.
That's what drives
That's
me.
good.
So
That's
I got to
good.
keep telling these stories. I got to put in the work.
You up there. I mean, Central Florida, they know about Troy with Troy Williams. Definitely, definitely. I'm a coach too. I coach my son's basketball team. So I'm a basketball girl.
Did you play basketball?
I did. I
Okay.
did. So now I get to somebody sowed a tremendous seed in my life as a coach. And now I get to give that back to young kids, boys, girls, everybody. I'm extremely grateful for that opportunity to be able to be in kids' lives and be somebody that's pushing them towards their best self, their
Hmm.
best self.
Gotcha.
And I do it through faith. So that's big to me. As coaching my son, somehow another way somebody found out something that I was acting, and a few weeks later, one of the boys say, "Oh well, I heard she's on OnlyFans," and it just turned into this thing, right? So I can see you saying, I don't want people to know. I'm so far from OnlyFans. I just want to plug that in because I give my kids something to be proud of.
Right,
Their
right, right.
kids can't turn on, my kids can't turn on um, any show, any TV show and say, my mom was indecent. My mom was doing something that they can't be proud of. So I'm proud that I can also give them that pride. So when all of that happened, it was just boys being boys, but that's where they took it and it just went left real fast.
Wait, they were saying that at the age of 7?
No, 13.
Oh, okay. I
13,
was
yeah.
about to say, I'm like, man,
Yeah.
how they know about
I have a
that? Okay.
13-year-old and I coach his
Okay.
team.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I was about to say, yeah,
Ooh,
that
7.
generation knows about it. I
Oh,
was like, man, how they know
7.
about that?
My 13-year-old,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
so that was interesting to try to combat that. So we're gonna shift gears on that real quick. And I wanna talk to you about, what you like to do. What does Troy like to do? Not as a father or a husband, what do you do that's just for you? What are your
Uh,
hobbies?
so my second home is the gym. You know, fitness is where
Yeah.
it's at. Like that's like kind of my escape. You know, where I can just be focused on, whatever.
Mhm.
Just kind of like block out the world and just focus on, just getting right. And I love being at the gym. I love the
Yeah.
smell of the gym. I love hearing the weights. I love seeing people get results. So like that's like part of my natural element. And you
Yeah.
don't really have to talk to anybody. So again, I can kind of get to go back to how I am, where I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm a very introverted person.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just go to the gym, knock out my workout, and I go home.
Nice. Okay.
But that's really all I do, man. My life is what most people would probably consider boring. I do very little things, but it keeps me out of trouble, keeps me on the right path, and it keeps me focused,
Mhm.
to do what I need to do because everything I do is kind of all connected to the puzzle. Like fitness in this industry, we have to be at the best of our, we have to look the best physically.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
So all these things like me getting fit, and I also like the types of workouts I do and things, it also depends on the type of role I'm playing, what I'm
Mhm.
getting ready for.
Mhm.
I go with different looks on different things, but it's all connected to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then again, my kids, they get to see me working out. They get to understand that fitness is a very big part
Yeah.
of, being a man and something that you should always focus on.
Mhm.
And now they both love working out. So it's just, and my,
Nice.
my baby girl is probably the strongest one. She's a
Nice.
gymnast. She's a
Nice.
gymnast. So she does pull ups, handstands. I'm like, man.
Nice.
So I love it.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. They're gonna give that same thing, that same seed that you sow, and they're gonna sow it into their kids too. So to talk about the roles that you get ready for, I want to know. This is what I've been waiting for to talk
Uh-oh.
about Blended, the
Blended.
series.
Yes, 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 yes.
Blended, the series
Yes.
is that your newest project?
Yes, it
All
is.
right. So where did you film? Where did you film?
We actually filmed right here in Central Florida, actually.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. So, how was it working with your kids on set? Because I don't want to talk too much about it because it hasn't aired yet, right?
No.
Okay. So how was it working with little people on set?
It was actually really fun,
Yeah.
because these kids, they were really talented.
Yeah.
Like I was just impressed because I'm like at that age, there's
Mhm.
no way I would have sat still. There's no way I would have done that. These kids though,
Yeah.
they were very, very talented. I'm
Yeah.
talking like when I say like seasoned veterans, they were on set like seasoned veterans. Like
Yeah.
they're practicing their lines, all that stuff. One of the girls came over to me and
You
we
have
had to
to.
orchestrate. Yeah, we had to orchestrate something. And she's like, okay, so here's how we're gonna do this. She said this to me. She's like, this is how we're gonna do this. I'm like, yes, ma'am. Okay, I got
Right?
you, little kid. So I was blown away with the professionalism these kids had,
Mhm.
the focus that they had, and how well they were with delivering their lines.
Mhm.
We didn't really have to do many takes with them.
Nice.
So sometimes when you're dealing with kids, it could be, you don't know what you're gonna get. It's that unknown.
Mhm.
You don't know if they're gonna get tired, just decide to have like a mood swing or something. You don't know.
Yeah.
But these kids, they were locked in. So that was really fun.
That's dope. That's dope. Well, how about Tori? How was your relationship with her? Because she played your wife, right? How do you get comfortable with when you have to play on scene with a partner, a spouse, or a lover? How do you get comfortable? What's your process of getting to know them well enough?
So honestly, it's just like how you and I are talking right now. You just talk to them.
Yeah.
That's it. Like you just talk to them, you just find out what commonalities you guys have and how long they've been acting, how long you've been acting, what do you enjoy about acting. And then, as you get to know someone, the more you're around them, like you just, you become a little bit more comfortable around that person.
Mhm.
You understand boundaries and everything as well with this, so I think that's just the biggest thing, just kind of talking and getting to know each other,
Mhm.
just like how we would do in school and, everywhere else in life.
Okay.
So I just make it a very natural process. And then once I get to know them, and then again, it's more so about, your mission and what you're trying to accomplish in the scenes at that point.
Mhm.
So now you feel comfortable around this person. And now it's like, now I have to obtain this mission in this scene with this person. So now you guys are kind of feeding off each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's where the creative process comes in. But once you feel like you know them, then you become very comfortable working with them.
Okay. Well, I probably should have started with this question, but can you tell us a little bit about Blended the series and what we can expect to see?
Yes, so we just filmed we finished filming the pilot, it's episode 1, and we're looking to get this series picked up by a network. So I think all
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff is in motion right now. And once we get picked up, then I think we'll be filming a full season 1, which I'm praying that that's going to happen. I'm speaking it into existence. I think the storyline is great, the actors are great, the writing is great, and I shout out to Renelle Golden. I wanted to work with her for a while. Very established filmmaker here in Central Florida. She wrote it, she directed it, and she was a joy to work with because she makes the actors comfortable.
Mhm.
She makes the actors very comfortable, and she basically kind of sets the environment to where you can feel free to be creative. So I'm
Yeah.
telling you, not every director is like that.
No, they are not.
So
Mhm.
I think it's because her gift of writing, and she's been doing it so long that she understands what actors go through. She understands it. That's very important when you have
Mhm.
directors that understand what actors go through. So it was a joy. So she would just kind of create the environment and then just like let us do it. But Blended is basically a story about it's a dark drama. It's some very life changing situations that happen in that story, and we kind of go away from some societal norms and um, some stereotypes, and it's kind of a story. It's kind of surrounded by love, but it's just a lot of adversity that gets to go you have to go through to get to that point.
Mhm.
So that's the most I can say without kind of giving the story away. But it's some things that are life. It's a lot of life changing things that happen in there, and it puts my character in a position of like, what do we do now?
Okay.
Like especially as a man, you always want to be like the kind of the peacemaker, the one that calms everyone.
Okay.
But with this, sometimes you get in those situations where life just hits you where you just like, I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Like how are we gonna get out of this?
Yeah.
Like Lord, I need you.
Yeah.
And so it's very real in that sense.
Okay. Yeah. What are you looking forward to next? What is your what role do you want to play next? Like if you say, I want to go into comedy, I want to do a horror film, what would you like to do next?
So I do have a new film coming up that I'll be filming. This is actually gangster genre.
Hey,
So
okay.
yeah, I'll be
You
playing.
dress. I meant to compliment you on how you dress. You dress very well. You look very nice today. Very well put together.
Thank you.
So I'm sure you're gonna enjoy the fashions, hopefully, and
Well, so this is not fat. This is more so like gutter, like thug,
oh,
drug dealer.
hood. Got
Yeah, we're going a little bit more.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we taking a little bit closer to the block with this one.
Okay.
So this is shout out to Eric Gray. He's the one who I think came up with the script, and he's the one who's producing it. Another fellow actor that's very well respected here. Um, I appreciate him because he gave me a role that he knows that I don't typically play much.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they like me to play the nicer guy roles
Yeah.
or, Rico Suave, whatever. This is a role where it's like bad. This is a bad dude. This is a bad dude. And it's like it's one of those roles that's challenging for me. And that's why those are the ones I like though.
Yeah.
It's challenging because I know I really have to do my work to make sure I bring it out and be believable in that role.
Mm-hmm.
But again, my humble beginnings in Bradenton, I can always go back to that
Mm-hmm.
to prepare me for that. So
Yeah.
it's no different from coming up in Bradenton, this
Yeah.
role that I'll be playing. So
Okay. And you got to do your research too. So you got to look into some bad men to get right.
yeah, I watch my classics. I have my classics though.
Yeah.
So I'm studying, Paid in Full, Juice, Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood. Those are like kind of the ones I kind of go through.
Okay.
And then also like, Snowfall, like I said, I go back to that show.
That's
That
gonna
show
be cool.
was amazing.
Yeah, I love Snowfall
Just
too.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best shows I've ever seen. So I've already
Yeah.
watched those things. So I kind of know what I'm doing with it. And I think we'll start filming that at the end of June, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So that gives us something to look forward to. That's what's coming next from Troy, as well as Blended the series. We can look forward to his new movie. Um, Troy, I want to talk just a little bit about your limelight conversations and what inspired you to start having those talks. You call them goat talks, right?
Goat
Or
Talk. That was one of the episodes. Yeah.
okay,
Goat
okay,
Talk. Yeah.
okay. All right. So what inspired limelight conversations?
So Limelight Conversations, I decided to launch my own production company beginning of 2020, it's Thoroughbred Films. And I did that because in this industry, you never want to get in that position where you have to rely on somebody to give you a role
Yeah.
or to do something creative, like, or if people are kind of trying to typecast you and you want to show that you can do something else,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to rely on anybody else. You can do it yourself.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the more on both sides of the camera, the greater asset you can become, and the more you don't get played in this industry.
Yeah.
So that's where it first started, just launching Thoroughbred Films. Then I said, hey, we need to start putting out some content. So
Mm-hmm.
again, we're in the pandemic. Everybody's kind of hopeless. Everybody's at home. So I'm like, you know what? Now it's a good idea to kind of create some content.
Yeah.
And that's really what I wanted to do. I talked to very successful people, people who've kind of been through ups and downs to get to where they are, people who I knew had inspirational stories. And I felt like, one of the things that we could do through Limelight Conversations is kind of bring hope to the world when everyone's feeling so hopeless.
Mm.
So that was kind of the mindset behind it. And, I could have just done, lives and, on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, done it digitally or whatever. But I'm like, nah, I want to actually go and sit down with people, kind of like what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Conversations are different when you can actually talk to that person right there and connect.
Yeah.
I'm old school.
Yeah.
So we just decided, hey,
too.
I have people who I know would like to be interviewed. They're not doing anything right now. We're all kind of sitting at home. So that's when I kind of did it. And then I got with my guys, Carlos Smith, shout out to him, fellow filmmaker up in Jacksonville. My guy Leslie, great photography. He helps me with a lot of my self tapes. Great photographer, great videographer. So we got with them. Then we got a solid location, which was at a high rise that my brother owned in downtown Orlando.
Yeah.
So we had the great view, everything. And I said, man, let's do this. Like we already know what we're doing with cameras,
Yeah.
everything. We know we're gonna make it look good. And we just had some really great conversations with people.
Yeah.
And we put them out, and the clips and everything were hitting a lot harder. Short people like the shorter clips.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot just by interviewing those people.
Mm-hmm.
I got inspired from interviewing those people.
Same for me.
Yeah, so that's what Limelight is all about.
Yeah. Okay. If you could sit with anybody and have a limelight conversation, who would it be? Anybody?
Dead or alive?
No, alive.
They have to be alive.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, I'd have to give two people. I have to
Okay.
give two. I know you're saying one, but I have to give two. One for the industry, I would love to sit down with Denzel.
Okay.
Denzel Washington. That's the
Yeah.
GOAT. I would love to just learn from him. He always speaks so profound and he's just driven. And you know that's kind of where I want to go with my career, the way he's gone, the types of powerful roles he played. And I would probably say President Obama as well.
Yeah.
He just seems like a cool, down to earth person. You know, I would love to talk to him about what it was like to, um, you know, do two terms. You know, when I know a lot of people didn't want you there.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to know like what was some of the adversity like you know like those real stories, not the ones that they tell. Okay, we went through this. Like really, man. Like how did that really make you feel?
Yeah.
You know, like did you know? I would like to know that because I'm like I know a lot of people weren't happy with him being in office. You
Absolutely.
know, and he's just so cool, man. Just
Yeah.
kind of reminds you of that cool uncle.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we are coming up on another term, and it's really important for us. I sat down with Candace, Candace and Chris show, and Candace was like, "You have to talk about it. You have to advocate and let people know that they need to be voting. All the people who are watching you, tell them get out and vote, please. It's so important to you." Your kids, the future, everything. I can't speak much on it. I'm not a political person, but it's important to get out and vote. So vote, please. Okay. And Troy, one last question for you.
Yes.
If you can give advice to the next actor, somebody that's watching you saying, I want to do what Troy's doing, what advice would you give to actors, new actors, old actors? What advice?
So for new actors, I would tell them that you know, fall in love with the work. You know, fall in love with the craft. Don't do it for the money because there's not a lot of money in it. If you want to do it for the money, go the commercial route. Go commercials. You can make a lot of money doing commercials if you book them.
Hmm.
The film world, doing movies and stuff like that, it takes time. So I would say fall in love with the work. Um, don't become a social media junkie where you're that person that you're just looking for validation on social media. Like really take your any role you get, no matter how big or how small, take it seriously, man.
Yeah.
Treat this like this may be the last role you ever get. You know, if this is a small role or if you were the lead in this film, how would you handle that?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the same type of approach you have to take to the small roles, and then that's when the bigger roles come. So I would say always be working on your craft. You know, always. And when I say working on, like you asked me about the shows I watch, you know, I'm studying those.
Yeah.
When I'm not doing that, I'm studying monologues. You know, I'm actually doing film study on myself on some of my old films and projects, seeing where I could have tightened up. You know, so the work just never stops. You know, it never stops. Being an actor is really everyday life. You know, as I'm talking to you, you know, I'm learning a lot about, you know, you. You know, I may have a role where I play something similar to what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
I can use this.
Yeah.
So you become just very you become very observative and you become a sponge to a lot of things. And I would say just become that person that kind of just becomes more understanding. Kind of don't look at stuff and look for an issue with stuff.
Mm.
Look for how can I understand this? Why is this happening? And when you do that, that you become a better actor in the process.
Yeah.
And I would say also, you got to want to be the best, man. This industry is tough.
Yeah.
It'll gobble you up, spit you out, and it doesn't owe you anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get criticized. All right, you're gonna get criticized. Like we get heckled. There's some of it is constructive criticism. Some of it is just people hating. You know, but at the end of the day, if you did the work or if you didn't do the work, then you deserve that criticism.
Yeah.
If you know you're not taking the craft seriously, you're not studying your lines,
Yeah.
and you're coming to the set not knowing your lines, you ask for it.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it. So that's what I would say. Actors that have been in it for a while, because I'm coming up on 10 years in it, so I guess I would kind of put myself in that. We always have to constantly find ways to reinvent ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you have to kind of just take a step back from it, and then you also have to understand what the industry is and how it's going. You can't complain about it. You just got to learn how to play the game better.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing because you're not going to change it yourself by like, okay, I wish it was like this, but it shouldn't be like this. But I should get the role of this. No,
Mm-hmm.
what's working right now? What do I need to do to make sure I'm playing the game to put myself in the best position to win? So that's what I really don't get mad about stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I just find out the game, I study it, find out where I need to improve, and then that's what I would say. Just Constantly reinvent yourself though. Remember why you fell in love with this craft, and also, try to do some challenging roles. Don't just do things that you feel comfortable doing.
Easy. Yeah.
Challenge yourself,
Yeah.
and you'll see what kind of comes out of it.
Okay. That was really, really good advice. Thank you for that because somebody's going to use that. So that concludes our conversation. I know I got like 100 more questions I want to ask you because I know the people want to hear from you. I was trying to get it all in there. But thank you so much for your time, for being here, this conversation. That concludes our talk today. We'll stop it right there, but thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, absolutely. And